college and all of that, and then another bomb, another thali falling incident of I don't want to get a 9 to 5 job, right? So trust me, my life is full of drama. It's like a Bollywood, they can make a Bollywood movie
Anyway,
of
you're a
my
big
life.
fan also, right? Of
Yeah,
Bollywood
exactly.
movies
I'm
and
a
stuff.
big Bollywood fan. So I'll make a movie on my own life because it is so interesting, right?
Nice.
So I said, yeah, no 9 to 5 job because I don't want to sit in one place and, work on a desk and do things for somebody, some other people, right?
कैसे लिखूं फिर से नई दास्तां गम की स्याही दिखती है कहाँ है जो चुनी है मेरी थी रजा
So, welcome to yet another exciting episode of Beyond Her Story, the podcast where we share journeys and achievements of Wonder Women who are making their mark in various fields. Now, have you heard of the quote, hustle with heart, and you'll turn every challenge into an opportunity for growth and success? Well, today we have the pleasure of hosting Sheetal Shenoy, who knows the true meaning of hustling. From doing a 9 to 5 job to modeling, hosting radio shows, facilitating team building workshops, and even running her own clothing brand. She's done it all. So let us get to know her secret sauce of how she manages it all. Welcome, Sheetal.
Hi, firstly, it's such an honor for me to be here. Plus, what an introduction, yaar. I can't
But
believe
that
it,
is
but
true.
thank you
I
so
mean,
much.
it's all true, right?
It is, it is. But thank you so much. I'm so glad we are doing this after so many months of planning and all of that. Finally, we are
Yeah.
doing this. Yeah.
Yeah, even I'm glad because, this is one thing, which we want to do in terms of connecting with the youth of today too, to see how they feel in terms of women empowerment and
Yeah.
things like that. So, shall we start?
Yes, let's do it.
Yes. So, I know that you come from a family of engineers and doctors and all, right? So, how is it that you got into entrepreneurship and the glamour world?
So let me tell you that as a child, I've always been in the top five in school. Okay. And this
Okay.
I'm talking about, say, till sixth or seventh standard. And slowly after that, while I say this, I was also very much into dancing. So back then, dancing was
Okay.
the only thing I knew, right? And I never knew that, okay, I could talk to people or I could put out my word out to the people, right? But I only knew about dancing, expressions, and things like that. So I would go for dance classes, manage school, and stuff like that. But
Okay.
during high school, now there's this transition, right, where you learn newer
Yeah.
things and then you realize that this is not what you're interested in and you want to do something else. So that's what happened to
Correct.
me. I've always been a topper, and suddenly it's not like I lost interest in studies, but I gained interest in a lot of other things,
Other things. Yeah.
right? And that's why maybe my score was much lesser than what I used to get back in the
Okay.
younger days, right? But I didn't have a problem with it. But of course, our family definitely had a problem with it because we should always be in top five. How can you come like say in top 10 or top 15,
Yeah.
right? But
Understandable.
yeah, but that never stopped me from doing things for myself, right? So that's why in high school I was pursuing dance more and more. I took up Bharatnatyam as a form of dance, which I absolutely loved. I did it
Okay.
professionally. I wrote exams, so I'm a professional trained Bharatnatyam dancer. While I say this,
Wow.
I also love Bollywood, right? So that will never go away from me. So I
I
would
know.
do a lot of Bollywood dancing. And trust me, my family is very encouraging about this because anytime we go for
Yeah.
a function, now, my pet name is
Sh-
Cookie, right? So Cookie is going to dance now. No matter what
Yeah.
the function is, I
Yeah.
might not even know that person, right? To whoever house or
Right.
function I've gone, but no, Cookie has to dance. Right? So it
Yeah.
has always been like that, and I love the fact that they encourage me. But when I say this, I also saw a lot of people working hard over the years while doing a 9 to 5 job. Okay. Now, no harm or no offense to anyone who's doing it because it's their choice. But while I was
Correct.
in school, college itself, I started to realize that there's much more to me than just my studies and dancing, right?
Yeah.
I think I started out by giving that, this morning speech that happens in school. Like a
Yeah.
particular
Yeah.
student is selected to just give
Correct.
a
Correct.
quote of the day or things like that,
Or news or something.
news or
Yeah.
something. Yeah. So that
Yeah.
happened to me, and I was like, I love this. I love standing in front of, say, 1,000 people, because school, when you say everyone's just standing and
Yeah, it's
looking
full.
at you, right? It's,
Correct.
I was like, I love this, right? Of course, I'm a little nervous because what if some wrong words come out or there's a slip of tongue and all of that. But I'm like, oh, this gives me a lot of happiness, right? So that's
Yeah.
when, I still took up science in 11th and 12th because everyone is supposed to take science. That's how it is, right? And I
Yeah.
realized
Yeah.
that I'm really bad at it. Okay. I'm not even ashamed to say this. The
Yeah.
basic science knowledge that is needed, I have it. But beyond
Yeah.
that, all this chemicals and rocket science, it's literally
Y-
rocket science for me, right? So
Okay.
I did fairly well. I got about 80% and things like that, which I was absolutely fine with. In fact, I thought I would
Yeah.
fail because I was that bad at it. So
Okay,
80%
but
is
you did
like a,
quite well.
yeah, 80% is like wow, right? So
Yeah.
that happened, and then everyone's like, "ठीक है, you have to get into engineering. There is no other option for you." And when I say this, I was not forced into writing exams, but they're like, write all the exams. You might get into some or the other college. Right. So I
Correct.
wrote
Yeah.
exams for PES, VIT, IIT, CET, you name it, and I've written the
Comet
exam.
K, everything.
Every single thing. And plus, not just writing an exam, I went for coaching also. So you can
Okay.
imagine the
Okay.
amount of time and money spent on this, right? So
Yeah.
I did everything, and the results came out, and people were like, "Oh, you got so less," and whatever, all those
Yeah.
talks and all of that. But somehow I made it in the PES college ka exam, and they
Okay.
said that yeah, we can give you say computer science or I think electrical engineering or something like that. So I said, but I was like, I don't want to do this, right? Then, but they were like, no, you have to do it. Computer science has a lot of scope and you can earn so well and have a nice life with that monthly salary that comes
Yeah.
in, right?
Correct.
So I was like, oh God, okay, let's do this. So what happened is, I'll tell you. So when I say all of this, my dad and my mom are very supportive of what I want to do. Not so much for my mom because obviously she has grown up in the family where people are very orthodox and they tend to do
Yeah.
things in a certain way, right? But my
Correct.
dad is
Hmm.
very open and he's open and he knows me well. He knows how much in that 11th and 12th standard I've suffered to study science, right? So he was like, yeah, okay, if you want to do it, do it. I don't have any problem with it. So,
Okay.
and you know me, I've always been independent. That is because my sister was born when I was 6.5 years old, right? So all attention
So
on
you
her,
have, yeah.
right? So I started
So
sleeping
you had
alone.
to,
Yeah, I had to like, I grew up way too fast, is what I think. Yeah,
yeah.
but no complaints about it. I absolutely love it. So then they were like, okay, go pay the fees and things like that. So I go to the college to pay fees for engineering, and
Engineering
that's when I see a board which says BBM, Bachelor of Business Management. Now, up
management. Yeah.
until then, I didn't know anything except doctor, CA, or an engineer, right?
Okay.
Because that's the only world that revolved around me because of the people around me, right?
Correct.
So I
Yeah.
thought, okay, let's just see what is this BBM. I went, I inquired about it, and the way they were saying, it's all about communication and marketing. You'll have to, market the products and think of creative ideas. I was like, this sounds interesting.
Kind
I
of
was like,
things you want to do.
I want to do, yeah. But also back then, I didn't know what I want to do, right?
Okay.
So that's the thing. And my dad tells one thing that I am, this Mungeri Lal ke Haseen Sapne.
Yeah,
There
I know.
used to
I
be
know.
this show or
Yeah.
something, right?
He dreams
So my
about everything.
everything. So I am that literally, and dad has always called me this throughout my life because I'll tell you examples. Okay, there's this Lakshya movie by Hrithik Roshan. I went
Yeah.
to watch it in it was a morning show, I think. I came back. I wore those, soldier type clothes. I went to my terrace and started climbing those grills and all of that with a gun, with a fake gun. And I was like, I'm going to be this. Yeah. Then
Yeah.
I think I saw Band Baja Bharat. They are doing event management. I was like, I'm going to get into event management. So it's always been like that. I saw some movie where the main lead was a fashion designer, and I was like, I'm going to be a fashion designer. Right. So it was
Yeah.
always like that. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I think
Yeah.
that's the best part about it because I was so
Yes. Yeah.
open to exploring everything that came my way.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. So as I said, I saw the board, I inquired. They were like, you have to write an exam. So I wrote the exam. and I got selected. But they had one more round with the, I think the principal or the head there. So
Interview,
the
is it?
interviews, yeah, interview round.
Yeah,
And I've never done this because in school where there is interview, there is no
correct.
test, nothing, right? So we
True.
went, and because it's BBM, he was like, I'm gonna give you this red pen. You have to sell it to me.
Sell it to me. Okay.
Typical marketing kind of a line, right? And I was like,
Question. No.
how would I do this? Because I've never faced something like this in my life. But somehow I made it, and I think he liked what I said. I don't really remember now. I wish I did so that I could have shared it. But yeah, he really liked it, and then he was like, "Yeah, okay, we are okay to have you on board. You should join this." So the check that I took, same PS University, right? Doesn't matter this
Yeah,
course or the other course. I enrolled myself. I, of course, kept my parents in loop because I can't make such a
yeah,
big decision by
correct,
not
correct.
informing them. They were like, it's fine. My dad said that somewhere I knew you're not going to do engineering because I know your heart lies in, it runs in the blood. Business runs in the blood, right?
Good, good, good.
Yeah. Because my dad also has been into business for what, about 30, 35 years now. I said, okay, let's do this. And I paid the fees, and then I've joined BBM. I come back home and everyone's like, "Yay, one more engineer in the
Engineer,
house."
future engineer.
But when you've seen serials, right, where they're holding the Aarti ki thali, and you
Yeah,
get some
yeah.
shocking news, and the Aarti ki thali falls
Drops.
3 times, right? It was
Yeah,
literally like that at home because everyone's celebrating my grandparents' mom. He's gonna be an engineer and stuff like that.
yeah,
Acha ladka milega in the future because
yeah.
only engineers get good boys, right? So
Apparently.
apparently, yeah. So all of that happened, and I was like, listen, I am going to BS University, but not to do engineering, to do BBM. And
Business.
hell broke loose because people were like, you know what BBM students do? They go ghar ghar jaake, they'll sell soaps and detergents. That's what they do, right?
Yeah,
And I said, I mean, there's no harm in doing that, to each their own. But that's the
yeah,
kind of notion people have about other subjects. Like you do
correct.
BCom because maybe you're not good at studies, or you just want to
Yeah,
be a housewife,
correct.
right? That's the
Same with
notion that
arts
people
also,
have.
I think. Yeah,
Arts, though, don't even ask. People are like, she
yeah,
doesn't want to do anything in life, or he doesn't want to do anything in life. Do arts and just like settle down. That's
yeah,
notion that people have. So I said, no, it's not like that. People might do this for BBM, say, go to people's house and sell things, but there's much more to it, right? Marketing is a
correct.
huge thing. Now, one line that I told them, which I think they were shocked, is that all the engineers that you see, you need a manager to manage them, and that
Yeah,
manager is going to be me,
yeah.
right?
True.
Because I'm going to do business management course, which means
Management.
I will be
Yeah,
managing those people, right?
correct. Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, and then you know how those typical family drama is. So they were like, oh, if you don't, if maybe you didn't, their thought was that maybe I didn't get into a college because of the marks that I got, not that I
Marks.
failed or something, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah. But
it's an
not up to the
average,
mark,
not
kind of.
up to the mark kind, yeah. So they're like, we'll pay the donation, we'll get you into get a nice seat for you in a nice college for computer science and all that. I said no, no doing any of these things. I am going to do this course because maybe after so many years, I finally realized what I want to do. It was at that
Correct. Yeah,
point, right? But even
yeah.
then, when I say this, I feel that until I got into the course and I started learning the subject, till then I was still unsure about it because it's new. Everything is so new, right? At
Yeah,
least engineering, you know that people have done it कुछ ना कुछ हो
yeah,
जाएगा types,
yeah.
right?
Correct.
And my only thing was I rather do BBM and maybe I don't know, maybe get lesser salary somewhere and do a good job than be a lousy engineer and maybe take 5 6 years to complete that course, right? I don't want
Correct.
to do that.
Agree.
So that was my
Yeah,
notion, and they said okay, fine, and all of that drama and things like that. So I
right.
finished college and all of that, and then another bomb, another thali falling incident of I don't want to get a 9 to 5 job, right? So trust me, my life is full of drama. It's like a Bollywood, they can make a Bollywood movie.
Anyway,
Of
you're a
my
big
life.
fan also, right? Of
Yeah,
Bollywood
exactly.
movies
I'm
and
a
stuff.
big Bollywood fan. So I'll make a movie on my own life because it is so interesting, right?
Nice.
So I said, yeah, no 9 to 5 job because I don't want to sit in one place and, work on a desk and do things for somebody, some other people, right? But I want to explore life. I want to do bigger things. I want to start a business and stuff like that. Now, again, people's notion was that, oh, maybe she's not getting a job. That's why she's saying this.
That's why.
Yeah. So at
Yeah.
every point in life, I had to like prove
Yeah.
myself. Yeah.
Correct.
Not because the world was saying things to me, but because, when people tell you things, they put you down. And at that age,
Yeah.
I was so vulnerable that my confidence would go down. And I had
Yeah.
to
I
prove
understand.
for building my own confidence and not to
Yeah.
prove anybody else, right?
Yeah.
So what I did, I applied to two places. I'm not going to take the name of the company. Let's not
Okay.
do
No
that.
problem.
But I applied to two places and I got the job in both the places. And mind me, they're big companies back then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And like a, what do they say? Spoiled brat, I just said no to that offer and I came back. I still have the offer letter, by the way. It's in my mail for anyone
Okay.
who's gonna ask me.
I know. I know. To say
Yeah.
that, yeah, here's the
Listen,
letter.
here's the letter. So that's what happened. I told them, see, it's not about me not getting a job. I am getting a job, but it's my choice not to do the job, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you must also agree that how women are always judged based on our choices, the
Yes.
way we,
Agreed.
clothes we wear, the way we
Clothes.
look, our hairstyle, our makeup, or whatever, and even our
Yeah.
profession. Like
Yes.
being judged to do something that I love doing. Why? Because we are
Yeah.
conditioned in that way,
Correct.
right?
Correct. Yeah.
So I was like, okay, see, letter is here. I said no to this. Time to do something, but let's do something else. And since my dad also comes from a garment background, he's been an exporter for I think 25, 30 years now. I
Okay.
knew that I don't want to do a business with him. Okay, now
Hmm.
that's another ideology that I have for all the people continuing their father's business. To
Yeah.
each their own, no offense to them, but there's an identity loss that happens when you
Yeah.
continue a family business. Because say an ex person has started it, right?
Hmm.
That company will always belong to that ex person, and even though that ex's son or daughter is continuing the business, they'll never say that, oh, aapne aapka business hai ye. They'll be like, aapke papa ka business hai,
पापा का
right?
बिजनेस है.
Yeah, so that identity loss is not something I wanted, right?
Okay.
But I wanted to do something in the same ground. So I started my
Yeah.
own company, which is called as
Okay.
Redefined Clothing.
Redefined.
And yeah, and I'm the proprietor of it, right? So that happened, but of course, I needed the knowledge and support from him. And when I say support, it's only the firstly emotional support and the knowledge
And
that he has, and nothing
correct.
else,
Yeah.
right?
Correct.
So I would take all the points from him. I would ask him, where do you get the fabric, this, that, and all of that. So to give context, Redefined Clothing is a customized clothing, say for schools and colleges and hospitals and restaurants. Basically
Okay.
uniforms with the name, logo, and all of that. Now
Okay.
this
Okay.
kind of a business is there all over India and
Yeah.
in bulk, in abundance, right? How
Correct.
you are different from others, that USP for me was I didn't have a MOQ, which is a minimum order quantity. Even
Yeah.
if
I
it's
know.
one
Hmm.
piece, I would still do the customization and give it to them. The cost
Okay.
might be a little higher, but I would still do it, right?
Yeah.
So that's the thing. That's how I made this a unique business. So slowly and steadily, I started getting orders, and I was very, very busy with that. And I was so happy that I started a business because on the side, I could also do other things that I wanted to
Lot
do,
of other things. Yeah.
right? Dancing was still going on. I started hosting. So in school, in college, I used to host fests and all of that. But I
Hmm.
think as a profession, my first ever gig as a host was a birthday party, and I loved it. Trust me, for
Okay.
anyone who's watching this and you want to start hosting, start with the birthday
Start.
party. It's the easiest, and you'll not be
Yeah.
judged because it's kids. And as
Yeah.
long as the kids are happy, parents are like, just one second. Yeah. As long as the kids are happy, the parents are like, she's the best host,
Yeah.
right?
True.
That's the
True.
kind of
Yeah.
scenario. So I started off with birthday parties, then it went to weddings and sangeets, and slowly I started getting corporate gigs as well, smaller ones, but then I did that as well. And then
So
I
all
started,
of these were paid, is it?
yeah, paid. Like my
Oh,
first,
okay.
so for a birthday party, the first, sorry, just 1 minute. Huh?
Yeah.
So for the first ever birthday party that I hosted, I got paid say 2000 to 2500 rupees, right? And that was
Okay.
like, wow, zindagi ban gaya kind of a moment for me.
Yeah,
So
I know.
you need to start somewhere to reach somewhere is what I want to say,
Correct.
right? Because
Yeah.
the college fest I used to host, we would never get paid for it, obviously, because I was
Yeah,
part of the
correct.
college, right?
Yeah.
And I still remember, so when I turned 18 itself,
Mm-hmm.
I became very at 18 itself, I became very independent, and I was so passionate about dancing that I started doing dance classes.
Oh, okay.
So there was this dance school near my house, and they saw my performance and they liked it. And I was teaching small kutu kutu kids, and they were so
Okay.
cute, and they would always be like Sheetal Didi, and they would love me, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so from then itself, I was very independent, and for me, it was I never wanted to ask money from my parents after when I started doing college because I started these dance classes when I started going to college, right? Of
Okay.
course, the fees they had to pay, but the
Yeah, but
basic
the other
kharcha,
things.
my travel and my eateries or hanging out with friends, and I wanted to take care of it. Not because of, they couldn't do it. Its parents are always ready to do things for the children,
Correct.
right? But
Yeah.
it was my choice because financial independence is very important. And if it comes at
Yeah.
an early age, you learn a lot,
Yeah.
is
I
what I
agree.
think. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So
definitely.
that was my first paycheck. I conducted a summer camp and I got 500 to 600 rupees for it. And I was like, that
Yeah.
feeling of your first paycheck, right? My God, there's no other feeling in this world that can match up to that.
Yeah,
So
I
that's how I
agree.
started. I did birthday parties, weddings, sangeet. I also started doing dance choreographies because dance was always a passion. I started doing dance choreographies. And then I tied up with a company as a freelancer for doing corporate gigs, right?
So
Because you're
was it
always
during
on
your
the go.
college? Was
No,
it
no, after
during your college?
college,
After college.
while the business was going on. And
Okay,
business
okay.
also, I used to always handle, and business was like a one-woman army. I'm the HR, I'm the accountant, I'm the salesperson, I'm the marketing person, I'm the delivery guy also at times.
Yeah, yeah.
So I used to do everything, right? And it was fantastic. Like even now, I sometimes want to go back to that life because the kind of energy that you have and the kind of push and the fire, it's still there, but now it's channeled in a different way for sure.
Way,
But
yeah,
at
correct.
that
Yeah.
age, I was like doing everything. I want to do everything. Yeah. There's a saying that don't be a jack of all, something like that,
Master,
right?
yeah.
Master of none.
It's yeah.
That saying. And everyone would say that to me, that choose one thing and stick to it. Like even now, people say that to me. Can you believe it? Even now, that choose one thing and stick to it. My question is, why should we choose one and stick to it?
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
One can have multiple passions, multiple things to do in life, right?
Yes,
It's my choice to do 100 things at the same time. As
correct.
long as while I'm doing two things at the same time, both are not
You
getting,
should,
negative impact, or both are, getting
correct.
any bad thing from my end. As long as it is
Yeah.
balanced and I'm doing a great job at both, there should not be any complaints.
Yeah, actually, even in Wonder Woman Wednesday, we've had one such story where, one girl has been doing, everything, and
Yeah,
she's into adventure, trekking, she's working, she's
yeah,
into dance, she's into yoga, singing, everything. And that is exactly what even she wanted to say, it's not necessary that you just do one thing. You can enjoy any passion that you have, and
true.
it's just that, like you exactly put it, how you balance is what
Balance it. Yeah,
matters. Yeah, exactly.
it's all about that. So I was I was really, really doing really well at that point. And then, of course, lockdown happened. And I also forgot to mention that while I did all of this, I also started doing modeling, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
correct.
trust
Yeah.
me, I've always been a tomboy, at least in school days and all of that. I was
Okay.
never like, acha, you have to wear good
Dressing up.
clothes and all of that. I was very random, like jolly I was, because for
Okay.
me, it didn't really matter. So after
Yeah.
college, I went to this institute in Pune called as Tiara Pageant Training Institute. So they train girls for pageantry like Miss India and all of that. And
Okay.
otherwise also as a grooming, it's a very good institute. And I wanted
Okay.
to go there because when you want to be a model, you need to have that adai and all of that, which was clearly
Correct. You
missing
need
in
to
me.
know a lot of things.
A lot
Yeah.
of things, right? So I did that. That was the first time I stayed away from my parents. Like
Okay.
first time ever. It was 1 month only, but even then it was a big thing for me. So I went to that institute and that also changed me because your perspective changes over the years. What you thought was the right thing to do maybe is not the right thing to do at that time.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
groomed myself and things like that. So that's when I started doing modeling. I started doing a lot of ramp shows because of my height, right? So a lot of
Yeah.
fashion shows. I've done two ads, one for Amazon and one for Sunfeast. Then I've done small short movies and things like that. So that phase of my life was fantastic. And why I'm
Yeah.
saying this is that because when lockdown happened in 2020,
Indeed. Yeah.
everything changed.
Yeah.
Literally everything changed for everyone out there, right? And it was the
Correct.
same for
Yeah.
me. While I'm super grateful that we had a house to stay, we had food and whatever basic savings that we had, but
Yeah.
also saying that we also had a little tough time because business was shut, right?
Yeah.
We didn't have
Correct.
orders, we
Completely.
didn't have anything to do. And I don't have a
Correct.
9 to 5 job that's giving me work from home and get your
Correct.
monthly salary. We didn't have that. And in my family, dad has a business, I have a business, sister is studying, and mom is a homemaker, right?
Yeah.
So while I say this, I love the lockdown phase because it brought the four of us together. We would watch
Yeah.
Ramayana and Mahabharata in the morning. That was like a
Yeah.
routine for us, right?
Yeah.
And we would have meals together. We would do so in our house. We have a terrace, and until
Okay.
lockdown, we never used to go there as one big family together. So we started doing picnics on the terrace because what else to do,
Nice.
right? The first 1 month was amazing because it's new, it's a good break. And I told you, right,
Yeah.
my schedule has been hectic. So I was like, wow, what a nice break and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And while this happened, I think in April or March is when lockdown happened.
In
And in
March
In
25th. Yeah.
March, yeah, March 25th, yeah. And in March itself, a friend of mine and we decided to start a company to conduct these team building and employee engagement activities.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
the thing is, I was freelancing for a company and he was working for that company. But we were doing the
Okay.
same thing. We were
Okay.
facilitating team building activities and employee engagement and all that,
That was
right?
before COVID, right?
Before COVID, yes, before COVID.
Yeah.
While I was traveling I even traveled to Sri Lanka to do a program. And that was my first international trip. Fun
Wow.
fact, every time people would, like my parents would say, let's go for a international family trip, and which was very difficult. I mean, because of
Yeah.
monetary issues and all of that, I would be like, no, my first international trip has to be
Will be.
sponsored by someone. I'm not going to pay for it. And it's like I manifested it,
Yeah. Unconsciously.
unconsciously. And that actually happened. And, I've never missed flights in my life. But the first ever flight that I missed was an international flight
Okay.
because I went to Sri Lanka, yes, we went to Colombo and I did the program and everything. But the return, there are two airports which I didn't know, okay, in Colombo.
Okay.
And the
Okay.
person who booked the cab also didn't check. They booked the cab and the my actual airport was 90 kilometers away.
Oh.
But I still made it, I still ran like, in movies how the girl is
Yeah.
running in
Yeah.
the airport. I had that moment. Though the bridal lehenga was missing, but I still had that moment. I'm running. But of course, it didn't happen.
You
So
missed
that's the
it.
first
Yeah.
time I missed a flight, and that too an international flight. Life is full of surprises like that, right?
I know.
So we started this company called as the Happiness Project, and our first event was for Women's Day,
Oh, wow.
and it was fantastic. People loved it. Yeah, the
Online,
company
right?
also. No, no, no. It was a physical because Women's Day comes in the first week. It's the 8th of March, right? So that time
Okay.
there
It
was
was
no
before
lockdown.
just
Yeah.
before the lockdown.
And we
Yeah.
didn't know lockdown is gonna happen. So 8th of
Yeah.
March,
Yeah.
we did the first physical event. And by the time we get our next deal, lockdown. I'm like, what
Okay.
a timing to start a company, right?
Yeah.
But then, I mean, we had to evolve and we started putting out virtual content. And that's how we started getting virtual activities because people were
Okay.
doing work from home. It was very important for companies to reach out to these employees and see if they're okay by doing fun
Correct.
games, fun employee engagement activities, and
Yeah.
things like that. So for
Yeah.
2 full years, we were thriving on virtual engagement. which I am
Okay.
so grateful for, because imagine you start a company and then there is lockdown, right?
Yeah.
That to a
Yeah.
company where you can do only physical events and physical
Yeah.
facilitation,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
So that happened, and while that was going on, the happiness project, again inside me, I was like, this is there, the virtual activity is there, but I can't sit at home not doing anything. I'm done with
Yeah.
Ramayana and Mahabharata. I'll watch it, but I need something else in life, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it see we were very tight on the cash also, because I said the business was
Yeah.
not doing
Yeah. And
well.
it was
But
only online events, so
it
you
was
have
only
to,
online events. The
yeah.
cost is much lesser when you do
Yeah.
online events, right?
Correct.
So the monetary aspect was not a major thing for me to take this decision of doing a job, but more so for my mental health, right? Because when someone is so active, you ask them to
Yeah.
sit at one place and do nothing and just watch content all day and all. It's very difficult,
Correct. Yeah.
right? The hyper person in me was, I started getting very anxious,
Yeah.
right? And you start
Understandable.
developing a lot of mental health issues and stuff like that, because
Correct.
lockdown was so draining for so many people, right?
Yes.
So I
Yes.
was like, okay, I don't know. I'm going to go against my ethics and just get a 9 to 5 job, because that's the only solution now. Now you see the circle here, the
Yeah.
someone who said, they say never say never. And I was
Correct.
someone who said, I'm never going to do a nine
Never
to
going
five
to do
job,
the 9 to 5 job. Yeah.
right?
So this redefined clothing that time it had to take a pause, is it because of
Yeah, yeah.
COVID?
We didn't close it, but there was no order as such, because see,
Yeah.
raw materials was difficult to source, and a
Correct.
company will not spend on clothing for their employees, right?
Correct. At that time, there were a lot
That
of like cost conscious and
cost
stuff
cutting,
like that.
yeah, cost cutting
Yeah.
happened. So when you do cost cutting, first impact is on these uniforms and unnecessary,
Correct.
not unnecessary, but not so important things.
Correct. Correct.
Right. So that happened. And I was like, also to get a job in lockdown was so difficult, because I used to read tweets, and on Reddit, people were like, we're losing our jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was the phase when, again, cost cutting happened and a lot of people lost their jobs and things like that. So I was like, okay, it's going to be difficult, but there's no harm in trying. Right.
Okay.
So that's when I went on, I think, not LinkedIn, I think just random Google search, jobs available, things like that, and all that.
Yeah.
And I'm a big, I'm very old school, okay? I don't make notes on my phone or on my laptop. I'm a very, like, I
You
need to
write
make
it down.
points and I write it down. I make a checklist. I have a checklist every day. You know,
Okay.
it's funny when I say this, that in my checklist, I also write chill, like take time
Okay.
and chill, because
Okay.
I miss doing that because of the
Yeah.
schedule and all that, but also because you become so workaholic that I am
Correct.
writing in
You
my
don't
checklist.
realize.
You don't realize.
Yeah.
I'm like, please chill. That also is written, right? So I started
Okay.
making list of all the jobs available, things like that and all that. I made the list, but I didn't apply for it yet. And my first choice was Amazon, because it
Okay.
showed up, and it was basically a content reviewer in the books team. And I love reading books. I was like, wow, universe is with me. Let's do this.
Yeah.
But God knows whether I'm going to get it or not. So I applied, and they reverted back within a week. We had multiple interviews and things like that. And I got the job. Can you
Okay.
believe it? And that was the only job I applied for.
Okay.
Must have shortlisted 10. I applied only to one, and I
And you
got it.
got that.
I
Yeah.
was like, it's a, blessings in disguise. Even now,
Correct.
I'm so thankful that God made that happen, especially during the
Yeah.
lockdown, because it was needed for me to be sane,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
that happened, and trust me, I had to, the Amazon job was shift basis. So it every 3 months your shift would change. So I have done night shift. So it was like start from scratch again.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay, because my experience, they wouldn't count it, because it was not a 9 to 5 experience, but it was a business experience. Even though business experience is bigger than any 9 to 5 experience that you can have,
Yeah. Yeah.
because I was a one woman army, I was doing everything. But for
But
them, they're
still,
like, on paper, you've not worked with any other company, right? So
correct.
technically, it's like your first job,
Pressure. Yeah.
pressure, right? So I was like, oh God, again, start from scratch. It's okay, let's do it. No harm. So we had shift basis. For 3 months, it would be morning, then afternoon, then only night. So literally, I've worked hard, and my parents would see this, because it was work from home, of course. So that's the
Okay.
only good thing about it. But then
Yeah.
night
Correct.
shifts are not easy at all. And hats off to those people who do night shifts, because it's so
Yeah.
hard. right?
Yeah.
It takes a toll on you. It takes a toll on your
Correct.
health, your mental health, your face, your skin, everything, right? But
Everything.
I'm
Yeah.
like, everything, I'm going to do it no matter what. Yeah. And while doing this is also and that's when again I started doing a lot of gigs outside, hosting this, that, and the business was also back. So again, it was a busy life, but
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
as busy as it used to be.
Correct.
Because
Yeah.
even then, there was a lot of cost cutting and people would not do such
Yes.
things, right? It was
Yeah. True.
slowly picking up,
Correct.
right? So I was like, okay, if it's fine, it's slowly picking up. I will still gather whatever has to be done and I'll still do it. And the Happiness Project business literally took off really well because in the first year, of course, we didn't make so much money because it was virtual, right? But in
Yeah.
the second year, when things opened up, third year and all that, we made good money, almost a crore plus. And for a new
Awesome.
startup or a business to do
Yeah.
this,
Yeah. It's very good.
it's a big thing, right? And it is just two
Yeah.
of us, my friend and me. We don't have,
Yeah.
again, I can't say one woman army because he's a man, but it's just the two of us, right?
Yeah.
And we would see if we needed people to work for us, we would hire them as a freelancer, project basis.
Yeah. Correct.
Because again, you need to cut down your overheads. You don't want to have an
Yeah.
office by hiring people and stuff like that. So
Correct.
for me, it's like this. There's this DIY, do it yourself, right? For me,
Yeah.
it's always been DIY. Anything,
Yeah.
business and work and everything that I do is always do it yourself, right?
Yeah.
And that's where I have a lot of trust issues also.
Yeah.
Because I'm so used to me doing things and I
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
that
I
I'll do
understand.
it with so much passion and perfection. When others
Yeah.
are doing it, I'm like, not like this,
Is
do
this
this.
Yeah.
It gets to
No,
you.
I exactly understand what you say because even I am like that. So I have to review every single thing that goes out. And if I catch
Okay.
something, I'm like, this is the reason why I want to do it and not,
Exactly.
give it out to anyone.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
So
understand.
I sometimes tell that I have part OCD because of all these things because I call myself perfectionist because anything that I do, it has to be perfect, not according to the world, but according to me,
Yeah,
right?
correct.
And in that, uske chakkar mein, you are just hustling and hustling and hustling. And
Correct.
you know, like I think in anytime now that I introduce myself, it's like, yeah, hustle used to be my middle name, but now it's my first name. It's not even like my middle name anymore. So that happened, and then we started getting back to events, things like that, and then some RJ from Fever 104 FM saw me host an event or do a team building activity in Goa while he
Okay.
was also there in that same event. And then
Okay.
he reached out saying, we are looking for an RJ, and would you want to try it? And trust me, this RJ thing was never on the list. Modeling, acting, dancing, everything was on the list, but I I can't even
Didn't
imagine that
even
I was
think
an
about.
RJ. Never, never. Right? I said, okay. I told them that let me try it for a month
Yeah,
because I don't want to do something which I'm not passionate about, right? And since
correct.
that was never on my list, I didn't even know that whether I'm going to like it or not. So I
Correct.
said, okay, forget it. We'll do it for a month and see. But in that 1 month, I enjoyed it and I was like, okay, let's do it. So I was RJ Sheetal all of a sudden. You know how
Yeah.
life surprises you, right? Like you can't even
Fever FM,
imagine.
right?
Fever
Fever FM.
104 FM. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was an RJ and it was going well because we had to do videos, interviews, and
Content,
all of that, and
content.
content, yeah, digital content, and then RJing. And then as an RJ, you get invited to multiple things. You get invited to, say, an opening of a store or things like that as an RJ because
Okay.
RJs are big. And I was like, okay,
Okay.
we do that. And the highlight has to be when I unveiled the BMW X1 in
I know
Deutsche
that.
Motors in
Yeah.
Whitefield. They were like, RJ Sheetal is going to do it. And I went full glam to
How
unveil
was the
it.
experience?
It was, I can't tell you, yaar. Nothing
Awesome,
less
huh?
than a superstar. Because
Yeah.
they sent a BMW home to pick me up, a chauffeur-driven car, and I went there, unveiled it, gave a small speech, and spoke to people. People took pictures with me and things like that. And then they brought me in a better BMW car. I think it was the X6 or something. And I was like living the life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So these are the
Awesome.
experiences that I really loved as an RJ, right? And multiple things like this. And there was no complaints at all. the again the kida inside me was getting too comfortable. And you know me, right? When
Yeah.
I get comfortable, I start hating it. And
Yeah.
that's me
Yeah.
since years, like from childhood itself. If I'm doing something, if I'm liking it, great. As long as I don't get comfortable with it, I'm fine with
Yeah.
it. But
Like you need
once I
some
know,
new challenges thrown at you, I think.
yeah. When life is easy, I don't like it. I don't know why. Because I was earning well, I was with my family, right? So there was no like this whole like hustle was there, but it was not like hardship. So hustle is
Yeah.
different for different people, right? When I
Correct.
started out, the hustle was with hardships. Few years ago, the hustle was with mediocre hardships. And then while I was doing the RJ thing, I was doing a lot of gigs, happiness project was going on, business was going on. So it was only hustle for the passion that I had, and not
Correct. Yeah.
for not with any hardship or the need to like, okay, I need
Comfortable. Yeah.
comfortable hustle. It was a comfortable hustle, right? But then it was getting to me. I was like, I'm an RJ now. What more can I do in this? And
Yeah.
radio industry is a little, I mean, it's dying almost, right? Because of all
Yeah.
this Spotify and Apple Music and all of that.
Correct.
I knew that there's no growth for me. I will always be an RJ if I continue there,
Yeah.
right? And I've always wanted to move to Bombay, which I've mentioned earlier as well, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I love acting. I want to try that because I don't want to be someone who's not tried acting, which I'm
Whatever you
passionate
have in
about
your,
in my
yeah,
heart, right?
correct.
I might fail. I don't know if I'm a good actor or not, but at least I'm gonna try, right?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
when before lockdown, I did have some opportunity to try it. I wanted to move to Bombay, but that time I didn't have the right support, right? Because you're young, you're naive, you don't know what to
Yeah.
do want to do in life. So
Yeah.
the support system that you have is also a little underconfident to send you somewhere like that,
Yeah.
right? And plus I was a
Understand.
first child. So if I'm
Correct.
like this pig, the parents want to experiment everything with the first child, and then the
First
second one
one.
is, yeah, the second one is like born and brought up all by themselves, because
I'm
first one ke
I'm the
saath
second
dekhi,
one, so
so you can't
comment on that.
comment on that. Ask your sister, elder sister, right? Ask her,
Yeah.
she'll definitely agree with this point.
Yeah.
Just like that is the first one. So that's the thing, I was like, I couldn't move that back then, but I was like, now is the time I'm going to move. And trust me, when I decided to quit the job, I had to give like a 2 months notice period. That time, I didn't even have a backup job. In my head, I'm like, I'm just going to move to Bombay and I'll figure out
And
something.
figure out.
Because that's the self belief I have. That's the
Yeah.
self belief I
Awesome.
have, right? So I'm like, I'll do whatever. Even if I have to sell vada pav, I'm fine with it. But I know that I'll do something. So I
Yeah.
quit the job. I had to do 2 months of notice period. The first month, I didn't even start applying. I was looking at jobs on
Mm.
LinkedIn, but I didn't really apply. I said, okay, there is time. There's 1 more month. I'll figure it out and things like that.
Yeah.
And it was fun. It was going well. And plus, not just the job was getting comfortable, but I lived with my parents for 27 years, right? While I preach and say that I'm independent, there's I think 15% inside me that I'm not independent,
Because you're
right?
staying with them. Yeah.
Because I'm staying with them. I'm in that comfort
Correct.
bubble, comfort zone.
Yes.
My mom cooks for me. Not that I can't cook for myself, but
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah. Correct.
mom's
But
thing, right?
every day it's like you will be
And
going back home where everything is ready for
is
you and things
ready.
are done.
Correct. Yeah. And even if you
Yeah.
want to do things, you want to cook clean for yourself, you're always like, mom will be like, I'll do it. You must be tired
Don't
from
worry.
office.
Yeah.
And
You
it's
take rest
markup, yeah.
today. Chill
Yeah,
out.
it's exactly. It's markup, yeah,
Yeah.
right? And you don't want to say no to that. And
Correct.
my two dogs, my dad, and things like that. And in between all this, my sister has also gone abroad to study, right? So
Yeah.
in my mind, I had this confusion as to how do I leave my parents? Because trust me, I am someone who has always put my parents first,
Family.
and then it's me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm trust me, I'm a true Cancerian. I'm emotional to another level. I think
Okay.
150% I'm emotional, not even 100%. Right?
Okay.
So I'm very connected to my grandparents, my parents, my extended relatives, and things like that. And for me, I want them to be comfortable. I can't give pain or any kind of shock to people, which I've done enough in my life by choice of profession and all that. But I don't want to do that, right?
Yeah.
So it was a very hard decision for me to make, to move to Bombay. because how do I leave? And right, with aging parents, not that my parents are very old, they're still pretty
Yeah.
young, but then it's
Yeah.
it's a fear that everyone has, right? With
Yeah.
aging
Correct.
parents,
How will
and
she
to
manage?
how will they
Yeah.
manage? And let me tell you, my parents are very dependent on me because I have made them dependent. It's
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
fault,
Yeah.
right? Had I not made them so dependent, they would have been fine. But it is my thing, I would always like, okay, let's do this today, let's do that. I would order food for them, I would buy things. Not that they couldn't afford on their own, but it was like, you don't spend anything.
Yeah.
I want to do
I will
everything.
do it. Yeah.
Everything I wanted to do. That was the kind of daughter I still am. But I still feel guilty for moving here and leaving them alone. Even sometimes when I'm feeling lonely, I don't tell them because they must be feeling
They
more
will.
lonely, right?
Yeah.
Because for
Yeah.
27 years, I was with them like this. Even for
Yeah.
studies, I never went anywhere else, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And this
Yeah.
change must be so difficult for my parents because first the second daughter went away, and then the
Goes up.
first daughter, right?
Yeah.
So it must be more hard for them than it is for me, right? Plus, I have my two dogs as well. To leave them and come,
Yeah.
I was like, I'm literally starting a new life at 27 by
Yeah.
moving to Bombay. Because see, even in Bangalore, I would get all these freelance gigs and all that because I was established. People knew that I exist.
Yeah. Yeah. I think one question, it was like it
Yeah,
covered your entire journey.
covered.
Yeah. But I still have a lot of questions.
No
Okay.
problem. Let's do it.
Yeah. So in this journey of yours, I remember you've also won the Fresh Face, right?
Oh yeah, I missed that. Yeah, yeah,
Is
yeah.
that how your modeling started, or it had nothing to do with that?
No, it had nothing to do with that. I'll tell you. So I knew about this fresh face thing that's happening in the college. And my
Colleges,
teachers,
yeah.
again, it's my teachers. They were like, you're so good at dancing, please go participate. Okay. So the day they had told that it's gonna happen, I was all dressed up and prepared and all that, but it didn't happen that because of some issue. And then I was like, okay, leave it. And then the next day, I've come in my normal, we used to wear jeans to school and a normal t-shirt and things like that.
T-shirt.
This was in the initial time only. Then we had uniform, of course, but until then, we had to
Oh,
wear
okay.
these things. We had a uniform, trust me. I've worn
Is
uniform
it
all my
in
life. All my life.
BBM?
Yes. And what? Blazer. It's a blazer suit kind of a thing.
Oh, okay.
So trust me, Sneha, I have worn uniform all my life. I was in the same school from LKG to 12th standard, so the same freaking uniform. And then BBM 3 years uniform,
Yeah, I know.
right?
You actually, that feeling of being in college is goes out a little bit because of the uniform.
Completely uniform. And
Yeah.
plus blazer, tie, and all that. I was like, what is this? It's a college, please. But anyway, so I was normally dressed and everything. And then I knew that Fresh Face is going to happen on that day because they were organizing things. But then college got over what, 3:30? Till 5, there was no news about it. Nothing was happening. I said, okay, leave. This is not gonna happen. Let's just go home. And I used to stay just 10 minutes away. Thank God for
Hmm.
that, huh? I used to
Yeah.
stay just 10 minutes away. And then I'm just chilling at home. I get a call from my friend who used to stay in the boys' hostel, which is within the campus. And he
Okay.
calls me and he's like, they're setting up, things are happening, it's almost the end. Come,
Where are you?
where are you? Take my scooter, I run, okay? And then they're like, no entry because it's almost over. I said, but I've applied online. Thank God I applied online. They're like, oh, okay, then it's fine. We can get you in. So I'm wearing jeans and I'm wearing this red top which has some text on it. And I have forgotten to take the song also that I had practiced on. So I was like, okay, just I told them I still remember. Uh, what is that song? Some song from Ram Leela. That much I remember.
Okay.
Okay, I
Okay.
was like, okay, just play the song. I will do it. I started dancing and all that, but people in college knew me because I've done this before, right? I've
Yeah.
done dance
Yeah.
shows and all that. And we had the judges and other people are hooting and things like that. So that happened. And then first round was the dance one only. Okay, I somehow danced and things like that. And then before the second round was the question and answer round. So they said, okay, you're selected for the question and answer round. It's like, okay, what to do and things like that. I can't believe I don't remember the question. But anyway, they asked that, and second round was question and answer. Then I got selected in that also, and then there was one more thing, small test or something. 3 rounds done, and then we are all standing. It's like pageant types only. People are standing and waiting to know
Waiting.
who's the winner. So they announced the second runner-up. They announced the first runner-up, And by then I knew that I'm not gonna get it because see the way I'm dressed, because others had actually properly
Dressed up, yeah.
dance costume and they were prepared for it. And I was not
Yeah,
prepared for that day, right? I was prepared
yeah.
some other day.
Previous day.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh God, I'm not gonna get this. And I'm just standing there and they suddenly announced that the winner is Sheetal Shenoy. And I was like, me? It was that moment I can't forget. Trust me, I was like,
Yeah,
I can't believe this. This actually happened. And when the news, so I didn't tell this to my parents. Like that time, nobody was at home, and I just ran. I took my scooter and I ran, right?
correct.
But when I went back home, I told them, and things like that. They were like, "Ah, okay, congratulations." But the next day, when the
It
photo,
came in
they
the
put a
papers.
photo on the paper, right? They were
I
like,
know.
"This is big," and they have put a picture of me dancing and not me saying
Okay.
things. And I was like, "Dude, this is so 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 special, right?" It
And
was
and I remember one more thing. I think Prasad Bidapa had commented a
yes,
very
yes.
positive comment
Positive
about
thing.
you. I
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
that.
So that happened in finals. So after the first level is winning the college. Then you go to the
Okay.
semi-finals where you're competing against all the college winners.
Okay.
Not just
Okay.
winners, but runner-ups also. So there's just like
Okay.
so many people out there. So even in that, I got selected and all of that, and I was in the finals. It's the same year
Yeah.
that Rashmika won. She's a big
Ah,
star
okay.
now. So I was with her, so I know her. We were all
Oh, okay.
together competing at the same time and all of that. And then you have these personal grooming sessions when with
Yeah,
Prasad
correct.
Bidappa and all of that. And he had mentioned that I have beautiful eyes and lips and
Yeah, yeah, the
the way I
height
talk and
and
walk.
I
Yeah. So
know.
that had
Yeah.
come in the name. So during this whole fresh face season, right? I think some 10 times I must have come in the newspaper.
Yeah. Awesome, right?
Yeah. I mean, no complaints at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, fresh face happened and all of that. But after fresh face, so I was in college, right? I went till the top five. Of course, I didn't win, but I was happy because I won the college. I got selected semi-finals, and even to
Correct.
reach the finals was a huge thing for someone who has never done these kind of things. I've done
Yeah,
dance
yeah.
shows, but I've not done
Correct.
something like this, which is related to the glamour world, right? So for me,
Yeah.
it's a big thing, and I was a star in my family. I was a star in my family for my dancing. I told you, right?
Yeah.
Dance karo, ye karo, wo karo. But
Yeah.
because of this, they were like, okay, good, and things like that. And that's why Fresh Face happened. And that was not the start of my modeling career.
Okay.
Because people said I'm tall over the years, they were like, do it, do it. My dad was the main reason why I started doing modeling because he was like, I want my daughter to be Miss World, I want my daughter to be Miss Universe, and things like that. In fact,
Yeah.
he told me that the minute he held me in his arms for the first time, that's the first thing he said that I want her to be Miss Universe or get into the glamour industry.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, and that sticked on to me. So I was like, okay, if
Yeah.
my dad wants it, I'll do it. That's when I went to Pune for that pageant training institute and
Okay.
things like that. And all this happened,
Those
and
things
now I'm
happened.
here. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think, though it is not nothing related to Miss India, Miss World, I think there's a lot of potential in you becoming a celebrity. I absolutely have no doubts about it.
I have tried for Miss India though. So because I
Uh-huh.
went for the training and everything, I thought I'll
Okay.
apply and let's see what happens.
Okay.
So I'll tell you again. See, when things are not meant to be, they will not happen. You know.
Correct.
So when
Yeah.
you agree with this, right? I went
Yeah.
to Tiara. After I came back, I wore braces because there was some teeth alignment issue. And right, Miss India, Miss Universe, they want perfect things, which again I have a
Yeah.
very different opinion about. But back then I
Yeah.
was like, everything should be perfect. In fact, even my hair, trust me, this baby hair of mine has gone through a lot. I had to like straighten it, permanent straightening using keratin and all of that because there's a certain expectation when you're getting into all
Yeah.
this, right?
Correct.
Which
Yeah.
definitely needs to be broken. You need to be a certain way. Your teeth should be like this. Your smile should be like this. So
Yeah.
these are all corrective
Everything.
measures.
Yeah.
Everything. So I wore braces, and whatever that my doctor had to do, he said it will take time, right? And I was very young, and I was like, okay, let's do this. I don't mind waiting and all of that. And while I was wearing braces and doing this, I had my other things, so there was not any issue as such. But then when braces got removed in Jan 2020 and the auditions were going to happen in say April, May or June for Miss India, Miss
Okay.
Universe, lockdown happened, right? And they did online auditions. and the online auditions had more participants than the physical auditions that happened
Correct.
over the
Yeah.
years. And somewhere you get lost,
Yeah.
right?
Agreed.
So that happened, and then I thought I'll try next year, but it never happened. So I couldn't really try for it. When I
Yeah.
had the chance and opportunity, I had braces. And once
Yeah.
braces were off, I didn't manage to try and,
Yeah.
have this thing. So
Yeah. But like
maybe
you
when,
said, I think there are bigger things meant for you. So,
yeah, exactly. So I was like, okay, maybe this is not meant for me. Something else is there. So I was
yeah.
like, it's fine. Yeah. And, over the years now that I realize, I'm so glad it didn't happen because I'll tell you, right now I strongly feel about body positivity, and you need to accept the way you are, accept your flaws. It's not a flaw at all. It's you.
Yeah. Correct.
Imperfections are what makes you beautiful, right? But back then,
Correct.
if I had participated and if I had won, I
One.
would have felt really bad because how people are they expect you to be that
Yeah.
thin 36, 24, 36, whatever the measurements
Yeah.
are, that perfect smile, that nose, that hair.
The external
It's
perfections which
superficial.
people look for.
Yes. And it is very superficial, is what I feel. They will
Yeah.
not
Correct.
see, while the way you answer is important, but it's also the way you look, which is given more important, right? And
Correct.
since now I'm not someone who promotes that, I'm like, good, it didn't happen. Otherwise, it would have
Correct.
been a laughing joke on me that, okay, I was that, and now I'm saying that, you should be imperfect and things like that. So I'm so
Yeah.
glad.
Yeah.
It's like God was like, this is not meant for you. You're here to do bigger things. So
Yeah.
that's when it happened. Yeah.
Yeah. I think uh, you have done so many things, right? How did, did you, like you said, you felt the pressure of balancing, like hustling and all sometimes, but did it affect you in a way where you said, okay, no, I'll cut this off completely because I want to do this, or you were happy? Though, see, it's like you said, exactly two things. One is where you hustle and you feel, okay, people take up too many things just because they want to hustle and
Yeah.
do certain things. But if you're doing hustling with the things that you love, there's it's different, right?
Different.
So
Yeah.
was there a time where you felt that you need to cut this off completely in terms of because it was coming in your way of your health and stuff like that?
So I'll tell you, one of the main reasons why I love hustling so much is because we come from a very grounded family, very humble background, right? You
Yeah.
also know that.
Yeah.
But when I say this, there's a lot of difference because my mom comes from a very well-to-do family. Okay, she has never seen hardships when she was growing up. Everything was
Yeah.
perfectly fine for her. But
Correct.
when I say this, but for my dad, it was different, right? He would literally, when people say, right, you wear torn shoes or socks and go to college or school, and it's like a hand to mouth situation. My dad has grown up in that kind of an environment, right? And there were five children, so one girl and like three boys, one passed away. But yeah, to educate them, give them a good life, it
Yeah.
was really hard. And my dad has seen a lot of hardship. You know, one thing that I want to say is my dad has not. So my dad is the least educated in the four of us right now. Okay, I've done graduation. My sister is doing graduation. My mom is also a graduate. I don't want to say what my dad has done, but I know for the fact that even with the basic graduation or 12th standard that he's done, he's excelled in life and how, right?
Yeah.
But this
That
has
is
not
more
happened.
important.
More important, yeah. But this has not
Yes.
happened
Absolutely.
overnight at all.
Yeah.
Years and years of hard work. Because even now, I remember when I was small, it was hand to mouth situation for us. Because he started his own business, right? So until then, he
Business.
used to work with, it was a family business. And you know how family businesses can get ugly at a point of time, right? So
Yeah.
it got really ugly. So he had to move out from that
Move
and
out.
then start his own business. And when you start an own business, it's not easy at all, especially when you don't have the monetary resources. All other resources can be arranged, but money is so important, right?
Correct.
So I know how much he has struggled and worked hard to give a good life to us, my mom, my sister, and me, right? And because I have seen these hardships, I know the importance of working hard. And I say this to my sister also. Uh, I'm not demeaning anyone, but I know that she has not seen hardships as much as I have seen, right?
Yeah.
And that's where somewhere you feel that these Gen Z kids that are there now, not normalizing them or putting them in a bracket, but because they've not seen hardships, they think that life is easy. But trust me, life is not easy as it looks
Yeah.
like, right? There is
Yeah.
so much more to than your uh, materialistic things to, than your
Yeah.
education. There's so much more to life. And because I
Correct.
have seen these hardships, I know, like, we used to have meals together, and even if I wanted a toy, I know how much hard work Papa had to put to get that toy for me, right? But
Hmm.
he would never say no. That's the kind of man he is. And because of him, I'm like this today. I tell this to anyone and everyone, because my mom supported my dad in even in that situation, because it must have been so tough for her to come from a good background, a well-to-do background, and adjust in this kind of a
Yeah. Correct.
background, right? Because it is tough. It's not
It's not
easy.
easy. Yeah.
But even then, she supported him, and he tried his best to do this. And while I say this, his support system was not very great, right? I'm not going to take names and all of that, but I do know that he's had to hear a lot. Stupid things like, you have a daughter, you have to get her married. What are you doing? Get a job. Why are you doing business? Right? And even if
Yeah.
he's taken loan and all of that for business, which everyone does, it's normal. But he's
Yeah.
had to
Correct.
hear that, I know you won't pay back the loan, and all derogatory terms like that. And
Yeah. Yeah.
that has come to me also. Like, I've heard people say this to him. Like, imagine people come and tell me, ask me as a child, how's your father's business doing? Do you have money at home? So these are the questions you're
Yeah.
asking a child.
A kid.
And that
Yeah.
has a very, that impact on me is very heavy. And I still
Yeah.
live with that thing, right? That they have gone through so much and people have not supported them, right?
Yeah.
My dad bought his, we had a Maruti van, I think, over the few years of his business. I think it must have been second hand, I'm not sure. But his first own car, he bought an Alto K10. Okay,
Hmm.
I think it's been what, 8 9 years now to that car. But buying an Alto K10 was a huge thing for us. It was a celebration. And
Yeah.
people are like, "Oh, you wasted money. Why did you waste money? You could have saved that money for your daughter's not education, marriage, which is so
Marriage.
important.
Hmm.
Yeah, how much gold have you made? Have you kept gold or not?" And by then, two daughters, right? So even more pressure,
Pressure. Yeah.
right? So he's heard a lot, and that's when, in my growing years, I decided that no matter what, I'm going to work my ass off, work so hard to not just make myself happy, but to make
Yeah.
sure that people, people see my parents. Yeah. Not just to make myself happy, but I want people to see my parents as, I don't know, I can't even categorize it and put it, and I already feel so emotional about it. But
Yeah.
they've
I can
always
see that.
seen my parents to be lower than the others around, right? Because we
Yeah.
might not have had the type of money or the type of house or car or whatever, those
Yeah.
typical things that make you
Yeah.
look rich, right? We didn't have that. We did
Yeah.
go through a lot of hardship, right? But I want people to know that my dad has worked hard and nothing has been hand over by others, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that people have done that, but with ancestral wealth and all of that, you can just sit at home and talk about others. But when you're actually
Yeah.
on the
But what
field
have you done?
working, right?
Yeah.
When you're on the field working, that's where the hardship lies. So for me, at a very young age, I knew that I need to work hard. And when people say that money is not important, I'm sorry. That's a very wrong notion that you have,
Yeah. Of course.
right?
Yeah.
Money is everything. When I say this, it is also, you know, it's very different. People say that money is not everything. You need to have happiness in life and things like that. But trust me, all these people saying this are the ones who have money.
Yeah.
If you don't
Correct.
have money, you would never say these things.
Correct. Actually, there was one very nice saying I had heard about money, which says, money magnifies who you are.
Yeah,
Actually, it's not just money to show off or anything, but what
yeah,
you have internally,
yeah.
you can magnify it so
Magnify it.
much more if you have the right amount of money.
True, true. For example, even the words that we are saying about women empowerment and all of that, if we didn't have a laptop or a platform like this to speak
Yeah.
about, which costed money, right? How would
Yeah.
people know about this?
Correct. Of course. Yeah.
Right? It's as simple as that. And there is this one saying that I truly believe: money is not everything, yes, but money is something, and you
Yes.
cannot ignore that, right?
Correct.
So I was like, I need to work hard and I need to like give everything to my parents because they have done a lot for me. Because when my sister was born, things were much better, and from there on, it was an upward graph. I'm not saying that,
Yeah.
but what they have
Correct.
gone through, I need to make sure that they have the best comfortable life. And that's like my first goal in life, like to give the best of the best to my parents. And
Yeah.
in between that, even if I'm going through something or if I'm suffering, I'm fine with it because I know that I'm very courageous like that, right? I can
Yeah.
bounce back and how I know it, but parents, very, very important, right? So that's when I bought my car, I was 25, right? And I don't think at the age of 25, at least in our family, someone's bought a car. And when I say this,
Ah,
it's quite
yeah.
it's a big car. That should,
Yeah, I know, I know.
right? Yeah. So it's a big car. Again, the same things they told my dad, they told me. Why did you waste money? You
Why
could have saved this for your own marriage.
manage?
I'm like, you know, someone told me that why did you buy a car? You could have just gotten married and asked your husband to buy it. And I
Yeah.
was like, why would you say like that? You need to be
Yeah,
happy for me. And why is this
correct.
notion that only men should buy things for the house,
Yeah,
right?
correct.
It's
Absolutely.
it's so, I mean, we are in
Yeah, it
2023.
is actually. There are a lot of what we know as societal norms and societal perceptions. I call them
Yeah,
perceptions,
perceptions.
because
Yeah.
yeah, it's like you do certain thing only after you have achieved something. You do certain,
Yeah.
even thinking or dreaming is after a certain thing, like a timeline for everything, which I
Timeline
call
for
the timeline.
everything. Yeah.
Absolutely is not true.
True.
That's what, when we break through these timelines and try to do things on our own, like the way you're doing, Sheetal. I mean, it needs a lot of courage. It needs lot of inner strength, I feel, to do
Yeah.
things that you're doing. And I mean, I definitely want to, I'm very proud of what you've done till now, to
Thank you.
be,
Thank you so
very
much.
frank. And I believe that you can do and you'll achieve what you want in life. That much belief I have in you.
That is so
Okay.
sweet. And this is the
So,
kind of support you need to grow.
yeah,
So that's the
yeah.
thing. Yeah.
I'm sure you'll see it's like this, right? Now you've moved out, and I'm sure you're interacting with a lot of people, correct? So you'll find a lot of support in those groups also, where
Yeah.
there are like many women like you who are trying to
Yeah.
do things the way
Achieve.
you're doing, or
Yeah.
yeah. So, and that will give you a much more needed boost, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's true. But even when I say this, if all the people who are watching this episode, right, even if you don't have the kind of support that you
Support.
expected, it is still fine because let me tell you, the biggest support is yourself.
Yes,
And I believe this because there have been times when even my parents have not been supportive because it's the generation gap, yeah, because the way I
correct.
think and the way they think is so different. Even now, it is so different. Like they
Yeah,
might be modern and everything, yes, but some conditioning can't be changed, and I don't expect them to change at this age. Like you can't change people after a certain point. But if you want to do those things, that inner support is all that you need.
correct.
Trust
Yeah.
me, right? And there is
No,
no timeline for these things. Like Boman Irani, he started acting at I think what when he was
48 or
50,
something.
48 or
Yeah.
50, right? Do you think that, oh my God, अरे अब तो मैं 50 साल का हो गया क्या कैसे acting करेगा? I don't think the thoughts must have come, but then he ignored those things and still did something in life,
Correct.
right? So timeline is a very wrong term to use for anyone, not just women, men also. There is no
Yeah.
timeline for anything.
Correct. Yeah. Absolutely. So I think we'll make it a little more, little bit, I want to see that smile on your face. So let's do a small rapid fire round
Sure. Okay,
on
let's
your
do it.
favorite topic. Guess what it is?
Bollywood. Oh
Okay, not
God.
all questions are related to Bollywood,
That's
but
fine.
at least some of them.
Right.
Okay,
Let's do it.
let's do it. Yeah. So, which is a favorite movie of yours that you can watch again and again and again and you still don't get tired?
There are a bunch of movies like that, but on top of the list, it
Top.
has to be, I think, Wake Up Sid. I loved it. I loved Queen because it's so empowering, man. I loved
Yes, it
Queen, the
is. It's
movie.
one of my favorite
And
too.
yeah. And yeah, so Wake Up Sid, Queen, and yeah, I loved drama also. So Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum. Because when life
Okay.
is full of drama, you take inspiration from Karan Johar's movie as well. So yeah.
Nice. A female character in a movie that you can identify with.
Geet from Jab We Met.
Ah,
Not because of
nice.
the story or anything, but just that nature, that happy-go-lucky nature, right? No matter what happens,
Yeah,
you need to believe in yourself and just go ahead. So that's the thing.
A Bollywood song that resonates with you, which maybe
Oh.
empowers you, motivates you,
Mm.
or
The-
any favorite song of yours.
There's a song called as so I feel like I'm the heroine of my life, right?
Yes, of
And the
course.
way Geet
Yeah.
says in Jab We Met, मैं मेरी favorite हूँ. So that's my
Hmm.
thing, right? I mean, I have bad days also where I feel like, oh, why is it like this and this, like that? But most of the times I try to be positive, right? So there's this song called मैं heroine हूँ, and from the movie Heroine itself, right?
Okay.
So
Huh,
it
huh.
talks about how you need to break the shackles and try to find yourself and things like that. That's what the lyrics mean. So that's something I really like.
Okay.
I wasn't prepared
Now,
for
if you
this.
could choose, if you could choose one superpower, what would it be?
I feel I'm very powerful on my own. I don't need to have more superpowers.
Awesome.
And if there is something missing, I will find it within me. So
Wow. That's an awesome answer, Sheetal. I loved it.
thank you.
What's your favorite quote or mantra which keeps you motivated?
Do what you love and love what you do. Anytime I have to give any speech or anything I speak about, it always starts with this. Do what you love and love what you do. And you're sorted for life. That's all it is.
True. So, what's the most unexpected thing you would have learned during your career journey, like towards in your entire journey of entrepreneurship, 9 to 5? Anything that unexpected thing that you've learned?
So, two things that I've learned is that people change their perception about you depending on the way you portray yourself, right?
Yeah.
If
Yes.
you have money, if you show that you're well to do, people will love you. And at the same time, if you show that you're struggling and you're having hardships, people will look down upon you, right?
Yeah.
But the most important thing is to tell that bhaad mein jaye to these people because they don't matter to you.
Yeah.
Right? That's one thing I've learned
Absolutely.
because society has conditioned not just me but most of us to think log kya kahenge, and I absolutely hate that. I hate this
Yeah.
thing that even my parents sometimes use this. Don't do this. What will
What will
others think?
people?
What
Yeah.
will people say? I'm like, are they paying my bills? No, right? So I will do what I want. Even when I moved here, people are like, you've gone to Bombay, don't buy a house, okay? You've bought a car, it's enough. Now it's time for you to get married and live in your husband's house. You don't buy a house. Like, why?
Yeah. So,
Not
yeah.
It's not that I'm not capable of buying or anything. Just
Yeah.
this whole thing that men should do things for women, absolutely wrong. And the other thing that
Yeah.
I've learned is change is a constant. People who support you today might not support you tomorrow. Friends who are like you've been friends with people for years together, some things might happen, perceptions might change, and you might not be friends. So change is constant.
Yeah, and that is important, like
Yeah,
if
to
you see a
grow.
lot of things which in the motivation sector, right? They say that it is okay to have a set of friends who change because that
Change.
means you're
Yeah.
growing.
Growing. Yes. Yes. True.
Yeah. And about that, the log kya kahenge? There's one very famous quote. I don't know if you've heard it. अगर हम लोग सोचेंगे कि लोग क्या कहेंगे फिर लोग क्या सोचेंगे मतलब if you are doing the thinking for them then what will
Yeah.
actually
What will
people
actually,
think.
yeah, that is so true. That's such a nice line. That
Yeah.
should be the heading of this episode.
Yeah. So, okay, one last question is about your future goal. So I know that, your thoughts change as you move along, but as of today, what is it that you have in mind for your future? Like one thing that Mungeri Lal ke Haseen Sapne, what is
Okay.
that Haseen
Yeah.
Sapne that you want to see now?
There are multiple things like that. I want to see, the thing is, I'm also, I want to be, I told you, right? I want to get into acting and all of that. When I say this, my goal is to not become famous or to become rich, is to become a good actor. I should be known for my skills and not because, okay, I have three BMWs and one big house in Bombay and things like that. That's not the goal. I want to be a good actor. And then, of course, I want to focus. See, I feel that one of my major goals from here onwards, now that I've moved to this city, is to focus on myself, right? I have not talked about this much, but as I told you, I've given my life to a lot of people in these past 27 years.
Now you have
Like
to give
I've
it
done
to
things for my
yourself.
parents, I've done things for my friends, I've done things for my family, and somewhere down the line, I have not done things for myself. Yeah. And I don't want to live with this regret, right? And they say that it's never too late. So right now, my goal is to focus on myself. So it's going to be like me
Awesome.
first and then the rest of the world. And
Awesome.
when I say this
Awesome.
me first, all my goals come into that. Whether it's my health, the way, I want to like be a certain way. Yeah. And all of these things change my goals and things like that. So it's going to be me first and then the world. So that's the goal.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. That is very important.
Yeah.
So, since you've had so many roles in your life, I'll call it avatars, okay? You have so
Yeah.
many avatars. So, I want you to tell me what each of your avatar has taught you, okay?
Mm,
And I'll tell you what each one is. What
mm.
has being a model taught you?
Okay, so when I was doing modeling, I had this perception, right, that I need to be a certain way and things like that. And at that point, you start feeling very insecure. And I'm open to sharing this that yes, I was insecure because everybody has their own body type, yeah. You can't be that
Yeah,
same skinny person that they are.
correct.
Like you've seen my sister, she's skinny.
Yeah,
Not that she eats less, she sometimes eats even more than me, but that's her
yeah.
body type, that's her
Body type,
metabolism,
correct.
right? And my body type is different. I'm on the heavier side from bachpan se, right? But while I was modeling, it would always eat me up because I'm tall, yes, but I'm not in that figure that people wanted, right? And people would always comment also, Arey, you have curly hair, your teeth is like this, your nose is like this, and because I call myself as a pig nose, I have a chotu pig nose, but they would people, you know how people are, they want to put your imperfection so much out there that you
Yeah,
feel so insecure. So the
yeah.
one thing that I've learned while doing my modeling days is to love yourself no matter what. You can
Okay.
be any color, shape, size, do whatever, wear whatever, but love yourself, because only if you have self love, then you can love the world. Otherwise you'll feel that okay, this world is really bad. So
Yeah. Uh, Being an RJ, what has it taught you?
being an RJ, that being an RJ, I think that's what, as I mentioned earlier, that the way you portray yourself is when people's perception changes, right? So always be real, even if you're going through a bad day, or even if you're going through, say, a tough time in whatever financial, physical problem or emotional problem. Just be yourself and always make sure that you're true to yourself more than anyone else. Because even as an RJ, let me tell you, you might have a bad day, but on radio, when you're going on air,
You
you
have
need to
to
be that
sound,
excitement, right? I
yeah,
must I must be having the most shittiest day ever, but then on radio, I'm like, hi, this is me. My day is going this way, that way, and I'm so
yeah.
excited and things like that. But then, as long as you're true to yourself, nothing matters. So be true to yourself.
Okay. Entrepreneur.
Ah. Entrepreneur has taught me that I'm good at multitasking. That is
Okay,
one thing.
nice.
Because I started out as an entrepreneur, right? And that's when I know that if I can handle a business all by myself, like a one woman army, then I can do anything in life. So I think my self belief and the fact that I'm good at multitasking comes from that.
What about the avatar of being a elder sister?
Oh, yeah. The elder sister and elder daughter also, no, comes with a lot of pressure and responsibilities. And I have been under that responsibility and pressure for all these years. But then now is when I realize that you need to put yourself first. And
Yeah.
that's so important. Not saying that, I'm like now I'm not gonna, focus on my parents. I'm not gonna take care of my sister.
That
All
is
that is
all
gonna
there.
be there. And that is
But
a
yeah,
part of me. I will never leave it.
correct.
But first is me. Because if I'm not okay, how will I make others okay?
Yes.
So I need to
That's
heal
that's
myself
exactly.
first. Yeah, I need to heal
Yeah.
myself first to heal the world. So
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's very well put, Sheetal. The avatar
you
of
all,
being a woman.
my God. This though I'll have a one book answer for this.
No, we want only one line of
One
that
line,
book.
I know. So, avatar of being a woman. How do I put this in a nice way? Actually, I don't want to put this in a nice way. Maybe I might sound a little shrewd also, but I want to tell that no one can stop you. And that's what I've learned. There is a lot of conditioning out there. The society, your parents, your family, your relatives, they'll condition you in such a way that you might not believe in yourself. You might not have that confidence. But trust me, you do,
Yeah,
right? And you need to put yourself out in the world to find out who you really are.
correct.
Don't be the person that others think you are. That's so important, right? Like people think you're this, you're
Yeah,
that. Don't be that person, but be the
correct.
person who you think you are. And that's so important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, Sheetal, I think you have taught me a lot today in terms of, see, I do, my background too, right?
Yeah,
Even I
yeah,
was an engineer. So when you talk about you having this sapne every
yeah,
few
yeah.
days where it changes, I think it's true for everyone. I mean, you have maybe a very less percentage of people who know right from childhood what they want to do.
Correct. True.
Otherwise, most of it is like when you go into a particular environment, you want to do something, then you see something else. So even at this age, I dream of a lot of things. Okay.
It's
So
good. Trust me, it's
yeah,
good to at any age. That's what I tell people that
yeah,
never think of, I don't believe in retirement plans, to be honest. Because
yeah,
why
yeah,
do you want
absolutely.
to retire ever? Right?
Yeah,
Because at that
correct.
age, you might feel like, okay, I want to write a book. Write a book. There is
Yeah,
nothing called as retiring.
correct.
Till your
Oh,
last breath,
absolutely.
you should always be doing things that you love doing. Even if that
Yeah,
means sleeping all day, do it. No one is going to ask you. People will comment, "Arey, पूरा दिन सोती है, कुछ काम नहीं करती." As long as you're happy, nothing matters.
yeah. So I think the women and the girls of today will definitely have a lot of takeaways from this conversation. I'm very
Thank
sure
you.
of it. Yeah. So thank you for being here. Uh, do you want to leave your contact or somewhere where people can
Sure.
reach out in case they want to, get inspired by how you do a lot of things?
When you're saying all this, I've not done much in life, is what I feel. Again, I'm undervaluing myself. I know you will say this to
Yeah.
me, but I still have a long, long way to go. So, all the people watching, if you ever want to connect with me, or if you're looking for that support system that you don't have, trust me, I'm always going to be there. I do on my Instagram also, I have random girls just messaging me saying that, you know, you radiate that positive aura. When I
Yes,
do that,
definitely.
doesn't mean I don't have bad days. I have a lot of bad days, especially now that I'm living alone. Trust me, the bad days are more than the good days. But you need to pick yourself up on your own and move ahead, right?
Yeah.
So you can maybe leave my Instagram handle, and the support system that you're looking out for, no matter who you are, I can be that support system for you. And there's this saying that I want to close on a high note, that real queens are the ones who fix each other's crown without saying that they are, without telling the other person that they are crooked. And
Yeah.
I'm that one. I will never point out that, Arey, Tune, why did you do this? Why do that? It's wrong, it's right. Nothing, there's no right or wrong in your life. Whatever you do it from your heart and fix each other. I want to grow with people. It should not be like this unhealthy competition that I'm growing and I'm trying to pull you down. No, let's have a
Correct.
healthy competition. Let's grow together and make this world a better place. I really wish to bring that change. I don't know how I'm going to bring it, but someday I'm sure I'm going to bring that change.
So I think we'll leave the Instagram handle for
Yeah,
people to DM you in case they have anything that you
done,
want
done,
to
done.
share with you.
Yeah. Just want to add one thing, that while I said all this, the questions that you asked were also really nice. So kudos to you. And
Thank
so
you.
happy to see you doing this, because as we mentioned, right, our family has been in a different way, their mind space is different. But
Yeah.
you found your passion, and as you said, at this age, which I don't agree, there's no age for
Yeah.
this, but you have done something that you love doing, right? So
Yeah.
hats off to you as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sheetal. It means a lot.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of Beyond Her Story. We hope you found inspiration in Sheetal Shenoy's incredible journey and her dedication to making a difference in the world of communication, team building, following her dreams. So, thank you for tuning in. And remember to subscribe, rate, and share our podcast to to continue celebrating the stories of extraordinary women. Stay tuned for more empowering conversations on Beyond Her Story. See you.